we start, is there anybody, today is obviously going to be a very busy day for you with players playing, etc. Is there any news in terms of in or out or anything like that?
No, we're just waiting on Enda Stevens. Picked up just a knock on the knee last night in the game for Sheffield United, and he seems very sore. He's just arriving here as we speak, so at the hotel, so he seems quite sore. So we'll have to see how Enda is. We'll have to see how Enda gets on. Apart from that, everyone else is okay.
We may face at Wembley. He's also up against Gareth Bale, who we might face in Cardiff.
Yeah.
But he did particularly well.
Yeah, no, it's a great experience for Dara. Like, Dara shown his versatility. Played right back for a lot of the campaign for West Brom last year. Obviously, he played left side of a back three today, and this season's been playing in that position. Obviously, a very good game against Finland. I think he did a different route. I seen Dara play the previous season for Exeter, 30 games in League Two for Exeter. Before that, he'd played in the conference for Aldershot, so on loan. So he's taken a different route, Dara. He's gone on loan to the conference and to League Two for a season each, and then grabbed his chance in the championship, and now he's playing in the Premier League, and he's earned it. He's still only 20 years of age, and so he's played a lot of games for one so young.
It's still, the name itself is even magical. Everyone's going to want to play in that game, but are you prioritising the Nation League games over the friendly against England?
It's an interesting question. I think we want to do well in all the games, and we want to do well in all of the games. Obviously, Nations League points are very important. Coefficient points count in the 3 games. Coefficient points count in the 3 games. I think so. We'll treat all 3 games as important games. I think, but you're right. We have to consider selection in relation to the 3 games and see what we feel is right. I think there is competition for places, and that's a good thing.
Would you agree though that Wembley, the name, even still holds a certain sort of special magic in people's imagination regarding football?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we'd love to see a packed Wembley, a massive Irish contingent that would travel well, and Wembley, that would be really special. That's what we would have wanted. Ideally, as a manager, you want your own. You dream of having your own family there. You have your own children, your family, everyone. All the players dream about their families going to those games. Although there's great international games, and I think, but it's empty. It's an empty stadium, but it's still historical stadium, and we're cognizant of that. It's great game. I think the games are all good games. England and Wembley, Wales and Cardiff, and then Bulgaria in the Aviva Stadium. So it's 3 games in 6 days, and they're great games really to be involved in, and we're really looking forward to them.
Okay, Guy Havard from Sky Sports, please.
Hi Stephen. Matt Doherty also had a good game today with the assist for the winning goal. Is it still for you either or with Seamus and Matt, or could you see a possibility where both could be in the same starting lineup?
Yeah, no, I definitely could. I think I think that it's a position that we're very well served in, and we're very grateful to have that competition, because you need it with injuries and so forth. And I think we've seen in the last window, unfortunately, we lost Seamus to a hamstring injury, but he's such a brilliant professional that when he played against Manchester United yesterday, like, you wouldn't have thought he'd been out for 3 weeks or longer really. He just seamlessly fit back in, comes back in impeccable condition. and that shows you how hard he works every single day, whether he's injured or not. Matt Doherty really found his feet at Tottenham. Played on tour, played again today, made the goal. He makes things happen, Matt. You know, even in our previous game against Finland, when he was tired, and it was his third game in 6 days for us, and that included 120 minutes in Slovakia and 2 flights between Slovakia, back to Dublin, back to Finland. And yet, in the last 10 minutes, he still was involved in chances being created. A header touched over the bar, he flicked one on for Ronan Curtis, the head, that was saved. And he had a great pass through to Aaron Connolly in that period for a one-on-one. And, you know, so it's a position that we're well served in. They can both play together for sure. And we just have to see how that one goes.
How would they play together? Would you have to change from a back four, do you feel? Can they both play in a back four? Do you have to go to 3 centre halves?
No, it is one way of doing it for sure. Because as you see, Matt Doherty played left-sided centre-back for a lot of the game against Wales in recently. Now, that was obviously due to injuries. Seamus has played right side of a back three for Everton. But they could both play along the right side. Maybe not in a 4-3-3 where when we played 4-2-3 earlier, your wide players are, you know, supporting the striker and making runs across the line and being dynamic, playing very narrow and so forth. But in an orthodox sort of 4-2-3-1, certainly they could both play on the right for sure.
Stephen, quickly, just one other one. We seem to have stumbled across this 3 friendlies in a window. Is it here to stay? Is it something that you want?
I think our last window wasn't a friendly. It was obviously, we had the playoff against Slovakia, and that was a tough one mentally because we were excellent in the game. Felt we played really, really well, and unfortunately lost on penalty kicks, and that's the harshest reality. It's a game that we should have won, but we have to live with that. And I think, you know, then we had the games against Wales and Finland, but this is a different window for us because we haven't had this before, where we've a friendly and then the 2 games. So obviously March is World Cup qualifiers. You know, in March the talk and speculation is that there will be 3 World Cup qualifiers in March. You know, in the window, I'm not sure whether that's true or not. But certainly, so from my point of view, whether it's 2 or 3, you just have to adapt and prepare. It means much less time preparing. For example, there are a lot more matches on Sunday now. We used to lose 1 or 2 players. Now you lose quite a lot. So Monday and Tuesday's training are Mondays, those players can't train. Tuesday they can do very little. So it's your preparation time is limited. You maybe to 1 day, 1.5 days with the players who've played on the Sunday. So it is, but that's you'd have to adapt. I wouldn't complain about that. That's just something that we have to adapt to, and you know, we have to just get our work done in the analysis room and through walkthroughs in the training ground and through through trusting the players, because we've got a lot of good players and who take information on board quite easily.
Will Dalton from Virgin Media.
Thank you.
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
How you doing?
Stephen, just obviously you're talking about prioritising games, trying to get the balance right. Obviously, this is a friendly, which we don't have too many friendlies anymore. Is this a chance then maybe to experiment on what you were talking about with Matt and Seamus? And is there maybe something in the back of your mind about playing 3 at the back just to see what these players are like, because so many of them do play at their clubs in this system?
I think we've been excellent defensively. Like when we done a sort of collage of chances conceded and chances created, you know, in the last window, and we've only conceded 4 chances in the 3 games against Slovakia, Finland and Wales, and we've probably created nearly 15. And I think between the 3 games, and I think defensively in those games, we had 120 minutes clean sheet against Slovakia, didn't concede any chance against Wales in the game, and just obviously we gave a late goal away against Finland. I think so. Defensively, we've been very, very good overall in that last window. I think, in answer to your question, in experimenting, we have been experimenting. We've used, a lot of young players in those early games that will stand us in good stead in the World Cup qualifiers in March. Jason Malumbi's come in and played, made his debut. Jason Knight, Darragh O'Shea, obviously Aaron Connolly, Adam Ida has come in and made his debut. And, so there's been a lot of players that have come in and got experience that will stand them. We'll reap the benefits of that in March and in the World Cup qualifying campaign ahead. There's no point in blooding them then in the campaign. So I think, certainly, they're getting an opportunity now. And some of them have shown that they're very capable, and they're going to be part of the future of Ireland for sure.
And as David McGoldrick is obviously a big loss to the side, and we do have some promising forwards coming through the ranks. We've seen Adam make his debut recently, and Aaron Connolly obviously. With Shane Long, he's been left out again. Does Shane still have a future with this team? Is it a matter of him playing consistently for Southampton in the starting 11?
Listen, Shane's been really an outstanding centre forward for Ireland. We really admired his contribution. He just actually hasn't started a game this year. Just the front two of Southampton have been on fire, and they've been top of the league, and the manager, even the Carabao Cup, played the first team, and they got knocked out that night. So there's been no cup games, no league games, and he hasn't started a game since well past the last lockdown in the last season. So apart from the game against Wales for us. So he's just short of minutes, and you can be short of games for a short period of time, but when it becomes months, it's very hard just to pick it up where you left off. But of course he has a future for Ireland. He's a terrific player. Hopefully he gets back into Southampton team and gets regular game time, because he's been a great ambassador for Ireland.
Okay, to end the live section, we'll just get questions from the 42 and then the live section's over.
Yeah, hi Stephen, just two questions from me. First of all, we will be reunited with our old friends Declan Rice and Jack Grealish on Thursday. Have you ever found yourself wondering what might have been had they stuck with Ireland?
Not really. I think obviously they're both very good players. I think I'm very happy with some of the players we have. We've got a lot of talent coming through. As we spoke earlier, nearly 8 players coming into the squad, young players coming in to supplement all the good players that are there. I think we've got a lot of good players and a lot of talent, and we're not far away from being a very good side. So I think I can't worry about other players that could have been part of the equation. That's something that you can't. They're obviously good players, and we can't really dwell on that from our point of view. We've got to look forward and see what players are coming through, and what other players emerge, because some of the players, John Egan, Enda Stevens, Matt Doherty, who are now mainstays of the team, only became regulars in the last campaign, in the last within the last year and a half. So it's and obviously in their late 20s. So other players can emerge later as well, and that's what we have to be cognizant of.
And Stephen, in the spirit of looking to the future, now that you're a senior manager, have you thought about what you can do to prevent similar scenarios arising down the line in the future with players in our underage ranks that potentially tempted to switch allegiance?
Well, I think I can't make promises that you can't fulfill. I think it's what we can do is try to make the environment at all ages, at all levels, as professional as possible. Make sure that there's a clear pathway between the under-15s and the senior international team. Make sure that if players are exceptional, that they move up the ages quicker to accelerate their development. And I think that's very important. And I think, and if that is, if players can play at under 21 level at 17 and they excel, well then that they can become first team players soon enough, if that is the case. And I think so really that's how I see it. Try and create an environment that the players can really identify with, an identity for the Irish team. And to be fair, all the players love playing for Ireland at all the age groups. There can be some misinformation maybe about, that nowadays that players are not as committed and so forth. When wasn't my experience. When I came in and managed the players, I felt when they were left out of squads, they were devastated. They're genuinely devastated to be left out, and were desperate to play. And likewise with there is an awful lot of pressure on senior players because their match programs are incredibly hectic. The international calendars are becoming more hectic and more games, and invariably some players to be nursing injuries through critical periods, and that also creates its own pressures for them with their clubs and so forth. So I think to be fair, they're always very, very committed to their country.